Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a late starting episode of The Rational Investor. This is Julian reporting in from a road of confusion and some like green dots, which is my green screen, obviously. We're going to get it dialed in eventually. I did adjust the camera. Now it's not up here. It's kind of down here. You can see like the green screen. Yeah. Wait 1 second. I've got hold on. I've got YouTube playing in the background. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm going to move that over. All right, good. Nice setup now. And I can see the YouTube chat and also the Zoom chat. If anybody posts anything, I should be able to see everything. Yeah, okay. So why do I have a road like this behind me? Because I believe that we are at a serious crossroads in the market. And, you know, we could either go bull or we could go bear. But you know, the question is which one has a higher degree of when we trade, we play with probabilities. And the question is which one has a higher probability of happening. I think at this point we have limited upside and a much higher percentage move to the downside. So I would consider, if you were in longs, congratulations. And I would consider being very careful with those, and hopefully you took a lot of profits. I think the fact that, you know, Kramer is the ultimate contrarian signal. You know, some people have posted on the site. Kramer's saying the market's a long, market's still a buy the pullbacks. That concerns me. The fact that there are a bunch of scam tokens coming out and pumping, that also concerns me. So there's a lot of things happening that are concerning. And also, Powell was on the other day, and he was extremely hawkish. Actually, all of the Fed members were extremely hawkish. They all spoke this week, and the clear word from the Fed was, we are going to keep raising rates. Rates are not being paused. They're going to continue to go up until we defeat inflation. They're determined to defeat inflation. But, you know, at this time in the market, there is still some confusion. So we could still get one more push up to 4,300 on the S&P. I'm going to pull up the charts. We're going to get into it. You know, I just like to do my little spiel at the start. Camera's going to get better. Every week we're going to get better. So but until then, let me minimize myself. There's the little confusion thing in the background. I'm going to make myself nice and small. Okay. Maybe I'll make myself a little bit bigger. I think that's fine. You don't need to see my face that much, right? It's not that important. What you care about is the charts. Let's go to the breadth. Let's see what the breadth is telling us first of all. So we've got transports still pointing down, no crossover. Industrial, look at this M that's kind of forming. Look at that. Wow, if this confirms, that's a big move. So the industrials, the transports, let's look at the S&P, and the S&P are all saying the market is selling off. There is a sell-off coming, even if the S&P is not necessarily confirming that just yet. So I would be extremely cautious. I don't like what I'm seeing here from a long perspective. Look at the bonds. Holy shoot. This is crazy with bonds. Commodities also. TSX, way down. Look at crypto. Here's crypto. Crypto universe is a little bit confused, but top 30 is straight down. I always prefer top 30. I think it gives cleaner signals. It's basically set down since January 15th. Which is why we've kind of just stagnated and stayed in this range. I still do think there's a chance we can make a small higher high before we roll over. But again, road of confusion. So here's crypto again. I'm going to close that. We're going to look at Forex Factory. We're going to look at what's going on this week. Let me refresh this. And we're going to look at options too quickly. So Friday, we've got nothing. Really, British GDP, preliminary consumer sentiment report. So that's probably going to be big tomorrow at 10 a.m. Did we have anything earlier? Monetary policy report, FOMC. This is what I'm talking about. The FOMC members all kind of spoke yesterday, and the day before that was Powell. So this one. Look for this one at 10 a.m. tomorrow. All right, let's look at what's going on with options. So tomorrow, you know, weekly options expiry is always the big one. We've got 410 and 415 big call walls, and you've got a put wall at 400. So we're probably not going below 4,000 on the S&P. But at the same time, we're probably not going to go over 4,100. Going to close at 4,000. 4,050 is going to be the pin. That will cause maximum pain from a retail trader perspective. That's what I would look for going into the market tomorrow. Let's pull up the charts and jump into it. Okay, so S&P. Let me go full screen with this. S&P is in a very odd position. This is an 8-hour chart. Actually, I don't like this full screen. I'm gonna exit that. No, that's not gonna work. We are going to do an F11 instead. There, like that. Okay, that makes it a bit easier. So at least I can click 12-hour. You can see the market is kind of rolling over, but it's not confirmed. I need this 12-hour breakdown right here. And there's also this kind of consolidation pattern happening, which could easily create this ABCD all the way up to this 4,300. This is my big target area. The market could potentially take out the liquidity all the way up here. Just push right above here and then roll over. But, you know, if we have to look at lower time frames and see what's happening there. So for example, on a 4-hour, right? If I adjust this, the 4-hour is actually rolling over. So here's your 4-hour, and it's rolling over to the downside. And you can see how price is not creating a divergence. RSI is in line with price. It's all just consolidating, squeezing essentially. And oftentimes these are very hard to identify. Usually, in my opinion, they're continuation moves. So I would be very careful here with taking shorts, but also with taking longs. Like I said, there's limited upside and a large amount of possibilities to the downside. Now, looking at options are telling me that maximum pain will happen if we hit this level, which is a massive support on the uptrend, by the way. This is big support. 50 EMA along with this trend heuristic channel are both major supports. 50 EMA actually on the daily. Let me go to the S&P. 50 EMA on the daily. These are my major support levels all around here. So it would make sense to pull back to here going into Friday. But then that would confirm, that would almost, well, actually, wait a second. Let's draw this. What could happen is we pull back. We push all the way down in the Friday into this area. We sit down here, push down here, look like we're going to move to the downside, and then we have one last push up. And we do that, and then we put in our M. So do that, and then we push up like this. That could also be a potential move. I don't see why that couldn't happen. And that would give us an ABCD up to 4250 or so. But I mean, you guys know that usually I like to be straight to the point. And when I'm not posting too much, I'm not straight to the point, it means that we're not in a good trading environment. The market is not clear. And that's exactly what's going on right now. I said last week, okay, we have an 8. When did I talk last week? What was last week? Thursday was the 2nd. Okay, so I spoke last week on the 2nd, and I said, okay, on the daily chart, we've got a 789 coming in. Usually that causes a pause or a pullback. What happened? We got a pause and a little bit of a pullback. So no surprises there that the market is consolidating. This is exactly what it should do when 9 prints on the daily chart. You can see last time an 8 came in, it had a pullback and then it pushed higher. So the real question is, do we get a pullback here and then a push up, or do we get a full pullback and just go straight down? I would not get too excited on the bear side until we break down from multiple areas. You'd have to push down here, and this is the bounce area, right? You'd have to push, bounce, and then push down below, and then head lower. This is where you consider shorts. Same with RSI, push through here, bounce, and push down. This is where you enter shorts. I don't see that happening for quite a while. I think the market's going to stay in the range here. I think it's going to kill calls and put traders and just range up here until we roll over into the March area. If you notice, I'm going to get rid of all these squiggles. If you notice, let's go back. What does the market like to do? I've noticed kind of these time frames. So we're going to do this, and we're going to look at time frames. Where's the date range? Okay, so for example, the market dumped and then it sat down here, accumulating for how many days? 36 days, 35 days. Before then, it had a big rally. How long did the rally last for? Let's see. Here's the rally. It went all the way till here. 34 days. Okay, now, then it reversed and it dumped. And how long did the dump last for? Okay, initial dump right here was 26 days, 1 month. Then it bounced and then it dumped again. And how long did that last? From there to the bottom. About 20 days or so. Okay, and then we got to the bottom right here. And how long did we take to accumulate? 30 days. Noticing a pattern? So then we took off, we rallied here. I rallied about till here. 40 days of rallying. We could say actually we just rallied to here. So 25 days. And then right here we distributed again before we dumped. And the dump happened in 2 days, right? So here we start distributing, okay, 34 days. Then we dump in 2 days, and then we sat again and accumulated. Accumulation happened, how many days? 25 days, okay? Noticing a pattern? So then we took off. It seems like everything takes around 3 to 4 weeks. We took off and we rallied. And here's the top of the rally. 30 days, okay, 4 weeks. Now we're up here, and I believe we're in a distribution. So let's assume the distribution goes for 26 days. That means that we have to sit up here in this range until the end of February. These things seem to happen in 30-day periods, these big moves, which ironically probably ends up with our moon analysis, which we haven't done in a while. But let's throw the moon on here. Okay, moon rally, pause. And what happened with the moon here? Let's see. Okay, so here we've got this one. So we should at least pause or rally a bit. At least that's what the moon is telling us. Rally here, rejection here, rally here, rejection here, rally here. It kind of follows it, except this one, right? We got a rejection and dump. It's not always right. That's why I don't like to use it too much anymore. But it would make sense that we kind of stay in this range. I still believe we will get this pullback here, and then we do this, and we just do that until the end of February. Either that or we get our push up, and then we dump in March. So one of those two scenarios. I don't think we're going to get this. We're going to get this, like that, or we're going to get this. Regardless, it seems like we are going to push into 40-50 here today. That's what it's looking like to me. Let's go to a lower time frame. Let's see what's happening. Yeah, look at this. Oops. Pretty big divergence right here. And crossover on the 1 hour. If it wasn't so late at night and I wasn't preparing the presentation, I probably would have taken a short here at the 41.36 area. Pretty clear breakdown on 30-minute chart. So there you go, right like that. I would have done like this, breakdown, retest. This is your short area. You can see the massive amount of divergence. Price almost made the same level, a little bit different, but huge amount of divergence. And now we're in my red area and we're printing lower. Not looking great from a long perspective, and options market is basically confirming this move lower. Market makers will get paid if they push the market down here. So it makes sense that this is happening. All right, so target this area. Maybe we take out the lows, and then we do this. We bounce, and we go up like that, something like that. I could totally see it. Okay, so that's the S&P. I guess I can go to like kind of a larger time frame, like a weekly chart. You can see how we came up and tagged this VIP level, but we haven't pushed through it. You really need to push through this VIP level to confirm on the bull side, and we just haven't done it. This is what you need to confirm a big bull. And you can see, I talked about this last week, and see how in 2020 we came up and we got rejected hard. Took a huge drop before we finally went over that level, and then the market could rally. But when it was playing with it in this area, it wasn't rallying. It was just sitting. And then finally, once it pushed over, it just went straight up. It was just up from there as long as it was above this blue VIP line. Now, the same works in reverse. As long as we're below the blue VIP line on the weekly chart, this market is likely not going to have sustained multi-year long rallies. It's going to struggle. But they took out all the liquidity here, like I talked about last week. Made sense that they would do that. The question is, will they take out the liquidity here? Are they going to take this out before it rolls over? We'll have to see. We'll see. I can't say yes or no either way. Okay, so that's kind of the S&P. I don't really have much more to add. I kind of gave my thoughts on what I expect to happen. Oh, a 9 came in on the 3-day too. This is a big deal, actually. This is you had a 9 on the daily and a 3-day. Oh, well, it makes sense that it would pull back a bit, and then it does that, and then it either pushes up or we roll over. Yeah, so those are your two scenarios. That's kind of all you need until next week, and then we'll go over it again once it's more developed then. Why don't we let's look at the dollar quickly, and then I'll look at a couple individual stocks. So here is what? Okay, so Chris is telling me that there's some issues and stream errors. Let me. Yeah, I can see there's some static and stuff. Sound is crackly. Okay, let me see if I can adjust something. Yeah, audio is choppy. I agree. Let me adjust 1 second. Let's fix that. Okay. Testing. No, it's still staticky. I'm thinking what we can do to fix this. Let me try unplugging the mic and testing. Okay, no static yet. I'm listening to myself. It's a little bit delayed. Okay, let's keep going. It sounds like it's better. If there's any issues, please tell me, because I definitely don't want any static. Okay. Sorry guys about that. So, dollar. What is going on with the dollar? I talked about last week on a weekly chart that the dollar had a 7 coming in. And look at that. So the 7 came in. We talked about how these lines, right? How every time it's worked except for 2 times. Majority of time, over 80% of the time, it worked. So this one time, here we go, it finally worked. We had a bounce on the 7. And the dollar pushed up, and where did it reject? At my trend heuristic channel, which it needs to push through to confirm a bull to the upside. Until that's the big thing I'm looking at. The big thing is the dollar. If the dollar cannot push higher, there's no way the market can kind of fall off a cliff. It's just not going to happen. I mean, it could happen, but it's not going to be nearly as dramatic of a move if the dollar is also dumping. So on a weekly chart, the dollar is turning. Let's go to a 3-day. 3-day. Yeah, you can see how 7 also came in on the 3-day, multiple time frames. You had 7, 8, and 9s coming in. I delete some of this. So you can see we're turning, but we haven't pushed above this VIP line level. That's what I need to see. I need to see a push above. Now on the daily, we did get that, right? So the daily, this was your breakout, and it was quite the breakout. But now it's emming out. It's reversing. So what is going on with the dollar? So here's your 4-hour chart. Here's your push up. Here's your breakdown. We need to see a reversal and a push higher on the 4-hour. That's what you need to see. Until that happens, we could break down to the downside again. But if we can consolidate here and kind of create a bit of a bear flag and push up, then the dollar has a bright future and the market can roll over. So that's what I want to see. I want to see a push up in the dollar and take out this level up here, 105, and then we can consolidate and then push up and the market will roll over. That's kind of what I'm looking for in the dollar. It's in a consolidation phase. It could just sit here in this consolidation phase until the end of February, just like how I talked about with the rest of the stock market, the S&P. We just consolidate, and then we finally break out. Okay, let's look at a couple stocks. So I always talk about Tesla. Tesla's been on a tear, absolutely crazy. Here was your breakout all the way down here. This was kind of your buy trigger, this area. Now it's way higher than I thought it would go. If we look at our fibs, where are we right now? Let me reverse this. Reverse. Okay, we're right at the 50% level. So we could go to the 61.8 would be a likely rejection area, take out all this liquidity. That would line up with my theory of the market, kind of the S&P pushing higher. If the S&P can push higher, then I could see Tesla also pushing higher, taking out these highs of the liquidity area, forming a top, and then finally rolling over again. That's a likely scenario for Tesla. I mean, it's sitting up here in this overbought zone since the end of January. I mean, it's crazy how overbought everything is. I would not touch this. I wouldn't short it at all yet. It's just on a freight train higher, but there are tons of gaps. Look at these gaps at 150, gaps at 120. I think this was filled down here at 115, but there's gaps at 120, 150. This was filled right here, but significant gaps. There's now a gap at 200 as well. Let me look at like a 3-day. Yeah, 3-day. You can see the 3-day it pushed through. This was a big bull signal right here when this pushed through. But tough. It was tough to long this after this bottom area, because once it pushed through and confirmed on the 3-day, you hit the VIP level, and then you also had the midpoint of the VIP channel, which before it consolidated around and rejected from. So then it pushed through that, and then it's like, okay, well now we're at a 50% and consolidation zone, and we're hitting a 7. So very tough to long this after this area. If you'd long down here, you were golden, but it was very tough after that to get long. If I look at a weekly chart, you can see even the weekly is bullish. So crazy, absolutely crazy. What I would like to see is a rejection at some point and a pullback to somewhere in this area, and then this is where you can consider taking a long. And you get a nice W and a push higher. I don't think we'll hit these lows from December. I'll be very surprised if we ever go back to those lows. Okay, so that's Tesla. No real trade, I suppose. I think it's very risky to take any trade on this. You really have to see a serious breakdown in the daily, and right now the daily is simply embedded. Just embedded in the bull zone. I'm kind of having to watch a 3-day at this point, and I don't see any rejection on the 3-day at all. Another one I'm watching, Google. Google had a huge rejection here because apparently they had some kind of AI presentation, and there was an error with the AI, and then it just dumped since then. But it also lined up with the technicals. On the 3-day, you had a 7. On the daily, you actually didn't have anything on the daily, but it did M out. You can see this. The technicals kind of confirmed everything, and it was ready for a breakdown. Today was just ultimate destruction. So very interesting to see what's happening with Google here. Doesn't look bullish at all. Let's see like a 1-hour chart. What's going on? Yeah, this is just pure bear. But the majority of the move completed. I mean, this was your short in this area. Now it's like, okay, well, you could go down another 8 points. That's all you've got. Now you're kind of in no man's land at this point. Then the short was up here where they took out all the liquidity. They didn't give you much time, which is very typical. You get like a couple days maybe to get into kind of a short before then it moves before the big move happens. And the big move normally happens within 2 days. That's about it. So that was the big move, but it looks like it could continue to the downside. Chaos, actually, if we call this an M top, this would be the chaos level. Let me reverse that. Chaos points to 82 down here. Just barely take out the liquidity. That'd be so typical. You can see how this is correct because it pauses at the 1.618. Now we're at 2.618. It could pause, get a bit of a bounce, and then roll over before it finally gets to this 4.669 level. That's what I expect for Google. Another one, I like to look at Meta. Meta had a huge run, and now it's finally rolling over. Look at this gap. It needs to fill this gap. This is so obvious. It has to fill the gap, right? But on a daily chart, still in an uptrend. There's no real breakdown here yet. But even on a 4 hour, if you look at the 4 hour, it's just starting to break down. Just starting right here. Just in the last 4 hours. Let's go back to a daily. Yeah, very interesting. You had a 9 come in and then it just shot higher. I guess earnings. Yeah, earnings came out. That makes sense. So 7, 8, and 9s don't always work, especially when news comes out. But it's looking like crap here. I mean, if you look at a 4 hour, right? So this is a pretty nice M that's basically confirming at this point. So what would chaos point to here? Approximately, I would draw chaos like this. So about here, 146, which makes sense. Fill the gap, right? Beautiful little short on Facebook. I think this one is a nice short. Like if it can pop, I'd like to see a little bit of a pop and then get into a short in this area before it rolls over. But it could just dump from here. I mean, it looks like crap. Let's see like a 1 hour. Go a little bit lower time frame. Yeah, 1 hour looks terrible. It all kind of looks terrible, to be honest. Does not look good. Could just continue lower. Yeah, I think it's not a bad short. What other stocks do I want to look at? Anything else? Thinking. Did I see anything interesting? Nothing really popped up on my radar. Oh, coin. Coin was interesting. Coin really dumped. So huge pop, and then just serious dump. Today especially, huge. I think pulled down by the rest of the tech sector. Interesting how resilient Tesla is in the face of everything dumping. So this was your basically confirmation on the daily chart of a potential short. So you would want to look for some kind of bounce to then get short here. So I'd like to see something, then I can short in this area. But we filled the gap now. We're still in this, even though the daily is breaking down and we broke down from this trend line, we do still have the 50 EMA and the trend heuristic. So I'd be careful about that. I want to see some type of bounce to get short, but it looks like it's heading lower. It took out, notice how it took out all the liquidity? Everything. Just took out everything except for this up here. But pretty much all of the fall, right here, this is the fall. All of the highs from September and October were taken out. That's all the market had to do. Not looking great for coin, which also subsequently means not looking great for Bitcoin. You do have a 7 coming in on the 4 hour. So if a 7 is coming in and you're coming into the VIP level, it means there's potential for a bounce. So like I said, potentially could get a bounce and then the full rollover. So something to watch out for. Be careful. I wouldn't jump into shorts here. I think you're a bit late. The short was in this area, right here or up here, if you could have. Okay, so that's coin. Why don't we? I already did the U.S. dollar. Is it me or is low volume barely here? You can barely hear it. Okay, I can increase the volume a little bit. I don't want to increase it too much because I don't want to get static. I think that was a big issue before, so I'm trying to moderate the volume. Let me check again. Testing. Are we getting crackling? Or not, but I can hear a little bit. I can hear a little bit of fan noise in the background, so that's why I want to turn it down. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep it at this volume level. I think it's decent. In the future, maybe I'll play like some background music. I think that might help. Okay, I'll put it a little bit higher. I don't want the fan background noise. I try to keep the fan as low as possible. Yeah, I'm hearing some background noise, so I'm gonna lower it a little bit. Sorry, guys. Oh, apparently I can add noise suppression to my microphone. We're gonna do that in the future. I'm gonna work with Chris and we're gonna get noise suppression. Okay. All right, sorry guys. So let's look at what is going on with gold. Gold is looking like pure crap on the daily chart. It looks like it wants to dump hard to the downside. This is a daily chart breakdown. Originally, I thought we could get a bit of a bounce. We only got a very small bounce, and it looks like we formed a bit of a bear flag, and now we're just rolling over to the downside. If the dollar can push higher, then gold will surely dump. So that you'd get your move like this, and get a push all the way down to below 1800, probably take out. So these are your big liquidity levels down here, right? We'll probably take out this area, maybe even go down to 1760 right below here. I don't see why that couldn't be possible. Let me see really quick. Let's see what chaos is saying. It's kind of hard to draw a chaos off this, but I would say like this would be your range right here, from here to here. And chaos is saying basically exactly what the ABCD is saying. So ABCD is from here to here, and from here to here. So chaos is saying 17, or ABCD is saying 1790, and chaos is at 1780. So we're gonna make that. I'm gonna add a little rectangle. I'm gonna say this is like our buy zone down here. Change that to green. Accumulation zone for gold, potentially. That's what I see. It kind of makes sense actually. If this is your full chaos level, by the way, then this is your 1.618, and we're actually going down here. So there is also potential for that. I think it's a bit extreme. I think this makes a bit more sense, kind of like this, either here or here. I want 1.618 to be positioned correctly. I mean, this could be if this is your 2.618 level, then you're at 1800. Usually chaos is best drawn with an M, and we don't really have that here. So I usually try to just find a nice area within the range that makes sense for then the following target, which is the 1.618, and then the following levels. So these levels kind of make sense, but I think the ABCD level that it points to around 1790 would it be a more accurate target. So that's kind of what I'm looking for with gold. Could easily see this move to the downside, which is bullish for the dollar. So I'd be careful if you're long gold here. Could easily take another 90 to 100 point dump. Okay, that's gold. We'll reevaluate next week. Maybe we'll be down there by next week. It's very possible. Wow, look at the S&P. 4109 already. Just slowly drifting lower. All the way to that 40-50 level. To not only take out all these lows, hunt all the liquidity, but also take out all of the options premium. Destroy the calls, destroy the puts. That's what market makers like to do. Okay, so gold, we went over. What other? Let's go over oil, right? I always talk about oil. People like to talk about oil. So here's oil. This is my daily chart, and here's just been riding along my downtrend line. Let me look at a weekly. Weekly is still in a bear, actually. Is it still in a bear? Just barely. Actually, it's tough to say. It's in a very weird spot. You can see even with the weekly on the downtrend lines, it's in a very, very odd spot. Oil cannot make up its mind on if it wants to be a bull or a bear. If I use these lines, yeah, I've got nothing clear on oil. It does look like we're consolidating down here before a big upward move. And what would the upward move point to if we took off and went higher? All the way up to 116, intersect with this previous uptrend. That would be interesting if we went all the way up there. Huh. That's what oil is kind of pointing to, but I don't have any clear trades on oil. I think it's extremely unclear right now. If I looked at this 12-hour chart, I would actually be bearish. This looks like a breakdown right here, starting to break down. Lower time frame. 4 hour, yeah, look at the reversal on the 4 hour, sorry. Reversal on 4 hour doesn't look great. But I don't have any clear trades on this. I think this is kind of in no man's land. It's too close to the VIP line. There's no clear trends. It's just consolidating. To me, it looks like after this big downtrend, the only thing I can think of is that this is accumulation. It's been going on since the end of November, so over 2 months now of accumulation. I think this is a strong bottom area, and it wouldn't hurt if price comes back down to the 72 area. It wouldn't hurt to long. 72, set your stop below 69, and just hold it. I don't see why that couldn't be a decent long if it's sitting here consolidating for that long. It wouldn't necessarily make sense to me that we head lower. Trying to look at this and see if I can be, does this look like a bear flag? But it really doesn't to me. It just looks like accumulation for a push higher. And this is kind of your W, right? Like that. You just need to confirm above 82. You could also wait for the 82 confirmation and then pull the trigger, or you can just buy down here and set your stop lower if you can get that price. That's what I would do, but I'm just not going to trade it at all for now. Okay, that's oil. We looked at gold. Do I want to look at any other commodities? I think no. I think we'll just jump into crypto and talk about Bitcoin. Let's take a look. Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not looking great. 789 came in on a 3-day, and the daily is breaking down. No wonder why coin dropped off a cliff. But this daily is not confirmed to the downside yet. It's starting to, but not yet. It's coming just right into this zone. Take out the liquidity. It could still bounce and push to our 4.669 level up here at 25,000. Right above all the liquidity here. Bitcoin's in a tough spot. Let me look at a lower time frame. Well, you know what? Let's go to a weekly and work our way down. So weekly breakout, obviously, this made sense. But we didn't push above, well, we did push above the VIP level. Actually, Bitcoin doesn't have enough history. That's why there's no weekly VIP. But, oh, wow. Look at there is a bit of a divergence coming in. So on a 3-day, we are massively in the green zone. But a 9 came in, and price is kind of rolling over. But you can see on the weekly and the daily, RSI is still bullish. But on the 12-hour, we rolled over hard. Back to Bitcoin, what happened here? Bitcoin 8-hour chart. Yeah, it's just straight down. I wouldn't long this or consider any longs until it can reverse. But as long as we're above this trend heuristic channel, I am bullish long term on Bitcoin. And I think pullbacks are for buying. But yeah, this 3-day is what concerns me, because this is basically your uptrend line. And price could easily come down and tag this part of the uptrend line, which would put you, right? So if this is the high and this is the low, and we do this, it would put you into this area. It would basically be your, we would just come back down here, and this is your accumulation zone again. And RSI should be here, and then it springboards from there, and then we take off for the real run. That's kind of what it's looking like. You can see my original DCA zone is down here. I think if we can get back down to these levels, I'll probably consider DCAing again, depending on how the charts look. But this is I'd probably DCA a little bit higher, unless things look really bad. Then everything goes out the window and we have to reassess. But for now, the biggest question is this just a pullback before one more push higher, or are we going to roll over hard? For now, I think that this should be treated as a pullback. We just get a push out, one more push down, take out everything from the accumulation area, and then we get our last push up, and then we can roll over. That would make the most sense to me from a destroy everyone perspective. You know, Bitcoin always likes to do these kind of fast moves that just take out all of the liquidity as much as possible on both sides. So it would make sense to try to take out these lows a bit harder, get everyone scared that Bitcoin's going to fall off a cliff, then push up like that. And then we can have the real push lower. You know, when everybody thinks, okay, we're at 25K, we should push higher now. That's the real move. That could happen as quickly as, you know, in the next couple days. Because right now the daily, it does need to reverse here. It can't push much lower. Otherwise this gets kind of nasty. So I need to see this uptrend supported here. We can't push much lower. So it'd have to be a quick daily like wick, like doop doop, before we get one more push. There is also potential for like an ABCD, which would be pretty extreme. And if we did something like that, you know, and that takes us up to 29,000. It's definitely possible. Certainly possible. It'll get everyone very, very bullish on Bitcoin. But considering the rest of the market, I just don't see it happening. I think we have the same scenario as the S&P, where we do something like this, and then we either consolidate here more before we roll over, or we do like that, and then we roll over. Bitcoin could push up to just here and then roll over, or it could push up to this level and then roll over. Those are the kind of the two areas. So it all really depends on the S&P. When we look at the total crypto market, sometimes that provides a clearer view. Nope, it kind of looks exactly like Bitcoin, honestly. Literally no change at all. Wow. Did I have this on a log chart? Yes, I did. So, interesting, on the total for our log chart, you can see we're rejecting right at the top of the trend channel. Okay, so this gives more credence to my bear theory, where we just kind of push down like this, consolidate, and then roll over. Because we hit the top of this trend line. Now, unless there's a serious trend change, which I don't see, I just see distribution here, then the market's saying that, you know, it's going to roll over here. But this is your uptrend line. So it could just pull back here and then push higher and then break out or roll over, because RSI would come in here and then determine if it's going to break down or break up. But for now, you know, I would say this looks like for sure a distribution up here, and if the market's getting ready for a pullback to continue into this downtrend. The question is, when does the downtrend end? That's the main question. We took out all this liquidity. Let me look at an 8-hour quickly. Yeah, nothing that gives me like a super clear trade. Just the market is very unclear here, but I think a pullback would be extremely healthy. Like even if we can pull back and go right below these lows just a little bit, and then RSI pulls back to here, and we make a higher high and we have divergence, this is your golden buying zone right here. That would be incredible. That's what I want to see, and would provide a very nice springboard for, you know, future market moves. But you can see how it lines up nicely on this log scale. You can also see how basically my wave count did not work out. Potentially this was wave 4, and then this was wave 5, and now we're kind of in like a ABC wave. So ABC would be something like this. So this is your A, B, and then C, and then we can start with a new Elliott wave series. Maybe we just consolidate a bit, and then we get our first wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and we take off and head higher. But I'm not gonna draw too much with that. I don't want to give anyone any false hope for potential scenario that doesn't happen. But I think this trend line is very telling. And if you made a lot of money with alts popping off everywhere, I would be very careful with longing at this point. I think this is where you consider closing out your positions, you know, taking profit and kind of chilling. The big moves happen in the beginning of January, and it's just kind of late moves and crap altcoins going off. I think the upside is, as I've been saying this entire presentation, upside is limited. Downside is a lot big. There's a lot more to the downside than the upside at this point. I would be very, very careful. Okay, so that's total. I mean, I can look at any coin really, but honestly, it all kind of looks the same. Like this, Ethereum looks exactly the same as the total. I can look at Link. Some people were saying that Link was popping off. Okay, I don't see this as Link popping off. Like, look, it's just running into the downtrend. It's creating divergence. It's distributing. This doesn't look that different to me than anything else that we've looked at. It just looks like you had a pump from 550, you're at 750, and now you're kind of distributing. And you're just taking out the shorts with this last move higher. Maybe you push a little bit higher to $8, and then you can continue distributing before you roll over with the rest of the market. That's kind of what I see with Link. I wouldn't long it here at all. I think it's very dangerous. Weekly chart looks surprisingly decent though. Very surprising on the weekly. Trying to see like what if we did this and we look at this. You have a bit of an uptrend. On the weekly, but I don't like how the rest of the crypto market looks. And I would be very cautious with any longs here. Could easily pull back and get something like this down here at 450, and then you can consider long opportunities. I mean, this is a nice area to consider going long. Wonder if it looks any different on a regular versus a log. A little bit different. We're at that 0.886 level, which is where you kind of want to buy. Yeah. Interesting that we came into that level. If I do fibs off the entire range from the bottom, does that change it? No. 886 is still at the $6 area. So it does make sense that we we stopped here. We've been just accumulating. Someone's accumulating for sure. I don't see Link going much lower. The most I can see is like a pullback to $5. I think Ling is a great buy, and it's going to take off in the future. And if you go to like a 2-week chart, it's just like straight up. Now imagine if this is your like pullback, right? So here's your ABCD, here's your A, here's your big pullback and consolidation move, and then this is where Link goes in the future, 1,500. Just imagine that kind of move. And then also from a chaos perspective, let me just delete some of this. I think it's confusing. From a chaos perspective, if this is our accumulation range from here, oops, nope, it needs to go like that. From here to here, that's the top of the range. There's the bottom of the range. Then chaos points to 22. You can easily get back to 22. So if you can buy in the $5 area, it's a nice Forex on a good stable coin that's been around for quite a while. Can even be a little bit more aggressive. You get 25, 42. But the ABCD is the big one. Points all the way to 1,500. If I go to a regular scale, let's see how that looks. Probably extremely ridiculous. But if we do that, right? Let me mirror it. It only points to 60. So that's still a decent move, but it's totally insane on a log scale. Kind of cool to look at it and imagine the potential that could happen. Yeah, but I feel like this is accumulation, and it's not ready to take off just yet. Be very careful, especially with this daily, the way it's looking. If you got long down here, great, and hopefully you took profits up here, and maybe kept like a runner. I'm not saying that this couldn't take off; it still could push higher, but I can't long it with how it's looking. I just can't put a 16.8. Yeah, the 16.8 is going to be crazy. I know. Is there any other crypto I want to look at? I'm kind of not that excited about all these crypto coins because I feel like it just kind of moves with the rest of the market. So if the total is consolidating and looking like it's ready to roll over, and so does Bitcoin and Ethereum, then everything else is kind of going to follow just with a different price. But it will be similar, but it will be with a slightly different price at a slightly different time. But all of it's kind of going to still happen. So that's why I don't really like going through too many of the coins. Maybe we'll take a look at let's look at FTM really quick. Phantom. Okay, so Phantom took off, went all the way up to 0.6, which interestingly was that our chaos level. So I would do chaos like this. It's a bit higher than our chaos level. Actually, if you wanted to line up the 1.618 and 2.618, then look at where the 4.669 is. So I always like to line up the 1.618 with the top of some kind of, wherever price stops first, that's your 1.618. And then you can see where 4.669 was. Yeah, so that's an M on FTM. It doesn't look great. You could start hunting potential shorts on this. This is your major breakdown. For example, on an 8-hour chart, your short would have been here. So right there was your short. And now it's rolling over to the downside. Question is, where do we go? That could be your potential target right down here, 20 cents. But right now FTM looks terrible. I would only short this at this point. Although we are still above this trend heuristic, we are still in this uptrend channel. It depends on the rest of the market, but it definitely, you should consider taking profits. And this does not look good. I have to look at some lower time frames. 1 hour looks like it's getting exhausted. 4 hour has an 8 coming in. So I could see a bounce like this and then a rollover. Something like that would make sense to me. So I like that on FTM. This one did look a little bit different. I will give it that. How about FET? I think FET took off a lot. That's an AI coin, right? So yeah, look at that weekly. Holy shit. So it went from like 8 cents all the way to 40 cents. 5x. These coins are so crazy. But now it's rolling over. And the party's kind of over at this point, right? So it took off and it's just been distributing. This is all distribution, and then this is the final distribution before a rollover and a pullback. I think we hit all of our targets, right? So let me reverse this because I keep drawing it the wrong way. If this is your consolidation range, right, like this, and 1.618 was actually 1.618 would have been here, and 2.618 would have been there, and then 4.669 was there, and then we hit 8.77, right? Actually make it a little bit higher. Yeah, like that. That makes sense, right? So then we hit all those levels, and now we're pulling back and consolidating. RDNR, okay, short. And look at how FET took out this liquidity up here. Boom, all the liquidity from February, April, January last year taken out. How ironic, right? They just always go for the liquidity. This is a big liquidity area. And now it's rolling over. Nice kind of M divergence coming in. Massive divergence between RSI and price. RDNR. Okay. RDNR. Did I type it wrong? RNDR. I think I just dyslexia. RDNR. Yeah, it looks like crap. Looks like it definitely topped out. Let me go back. 3-day. Yeah, big push higher. 8-hour, huge rollover. Look at that. Just like broke through and dumped hard. Yeah, this needs to pull back. I wouldn't. It could bounce here at this 9 area. Get a bit of a bounce up to here. And then you can roll over further. That's kind of what I'm seeing. You can't really short now. It's too late. I would look for a bounce and then consider shorts. Mr. Pancake. Yeah, I think it probably looks really good back in December. Even January, the beginning of January, even here, it was good. If you go to like a daily chart. Yeah, so on the daily chart, I mean, here was your, I would have drawn it like this. And then this was your long right here. So here, and then a breakout of this 50, you could long again here. Those were your long areas. Although this would have been tough to long because now you took out all the liquidity. I would have waited for a pullback probably down to here. I would have missed it, and then it would have taken off. So the main area to get in would have been here at 45 cents. Yeah, I definitely would take profit on this for sure. It's not looking great. Big breakdowns across the board. Like I said, a little bit of a bounce and then further down. That's what I see. So something like doop, and then a roll down. And where do we go if we look at, again, oh yeah. Okay, so 88.6. So this area is where you can consider, again, starting to accumulate, maybe probably get a consolidation, maybe a quick flush, and then we can move higher. I think that makes sense. Yeah, I hate when that happens. Sometimes the stuff just takes off and you never get it. It happens a lot, actually. Okay, so I think that's all I've got on crypto. You know, S&P is still kind of looking like it's sitting down here. It's got a 7 coming in on the 15-minute, 7 coming in on the 1 hour. We may just consolidate here before then getting that flush down tomorrow. We'll see. we'll see. We can look at the options again. Let me pull up the options again. So we're at 41.10, which on the SPY is 410 basically. So if we go here, and let me refresh it, see if we can get maybe some updated data. On the 10th. Okay, yep, 410, massive amount of calls. So if we can go back to 405 or even lower, we take out a lot of puts. Actually, this put wall is, we don't want to go here. We want to be here. So here, if 47 or 40.05 would be the max pain. So that 40.50 level. Yeah, so we're probably going to consolidate here, and then maybe overnight we push down to this level, and then we can get our push next week higher. That's what I'm seeing with the S&P. All right, I think that's it for me today, guys. Nothing else really to say. The market is in a distribution phase, I believe. I would be very careful. I think if you are in big profits from riding any of the tech names that have all doubled, I would consider taking profits on a lot of those, at least 50%, and be cautious with your trades over the next month, because as I showed with the study that we went through, every 3 to 4 weeks it seems like the market kind of changes, and for now we're in this consolidation distribution range, and we've got a couple more days to go. So we just started right here, right? So then we've got, I'm gonna make this transparent. Okay, so this would put us at 33 days right there. Let's be conservative. Let's go to 25 days. We should go to at least almost to the end of February with this kind of range. And what I expect is this, and then this, and this maybe, and then finally roll over. That's kind of what I'm seeing, and what the market seems to be following for at least the past 6 months with these 3 to 4 week patterns, which I think has to do with options. I think a lot of options buyers buy options 1 month out to 3 weeks out, and so the market sits in the range, or rallies hard to destroy them, or dumps hard to destroy them. So I think there's definitely a reason for these ranges that we're seeing, and it has a lot to do with the options market. Okay, that's all I've got. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Make sure to get away from the computer as always. Get a workout in, spend time with your family, and I will see you on the site. And if not, I'll see you next Thursday. All right, bye everybody.